Matchup one. Ooh! This is going to be a fun one. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one.
What were you expecting? Anything different, my friend? You know who it is.
So, Sensei Zero Suit will always impress me, but it always makes me sad because I know the presence of this Zero Suit is why we don't see his Snake anymore. But I think if there was any matchup to showcase why this Zero Suit needs to be live, it's for a matchup like this. Haven's been putting in work with this Corrin from everything that I've been catching up on, and this is a character that cannot be afforded to be slept on.
Oh, no. You're making all sorts of semblances of mistakes if you're still sleeping on Corrin, especially if you're a character that already has a relatively hard time coming down out of the disadvantage. That up air is bigger than every dream, every aspiration that I personally as a man have ever had. ZSS, though, like you mentioned before, definitely understand this pick over the Snake more than anything else, because, you know, in terms of talking about disadvantage, it can definitely be argued that this character has a much better one than Snake. Or I was gonna say, to use flip kick to get out of situations for up airs as he flip kicks directly into one.
Yeah, therein lies the trappings of flip kick as a move. It's an amazing escape tool. It's an amazing tool just for microspacing's sake, and can be done both offensively and defensively. But if you get too out of hand with it, you're just asking to get eaten alive in the air, and Corrin has a plethora of moves that will do just that, as already displayed by Haven, and almost already given the runaround on Sensei the second stock in. Down tilt setting up for trapping in the air is phenomenal play, and especially on PS2, I think this is a great way of making use of how long this stage is, because I feel like PS2 is one of the stages that can really, like, showcase how poor Corrin's ground movement is. And I feel like Zero Suit's the kind of character that could really exploit any character who doesn't have, like, optimal movement.
Amen to that. Having that longer stage, you know, to really exploit that for Corrin on the ground. Because, you know, Corrin is, despite all the amazing buffs that she got, you know, she can still easily put you in the vortex. But that vortex is, she's going to have to work a little bit harder for it when there's literally more ground to cover. She's not the fastest character in the game. Or you
that don't matter if the Zero Suit's going to be running right at you. That's just got to pick these options a little bit safer. Charging in headstrong against a Corrin with max rage and not in a position to get the kill is just dangerous doings, especially as Haven has shown multiple times just in this game alone that they're very good at spacing these tippers from the side B or even forward smashers just to threaten space.
Yeah, what I'm not really seeing too much from Sensei so far is in terms of negating the no-fly zone, because Corrin is the kind of character who... Ooh,
oh no!
Say the no-fly zone. I was going to say the no-fly zone.
No, man, this is a restricted airspace. Zero Suit was not allowed at all.
Oh my god, you put yourself in the no-fly zone. This is space airspace. Identify yourself.
Oh, look at this too. Oh, that was gruesome DI. No tech. That was just a terrible ending to that game. Absolute wash in favor of Haven. I'm very curious to see how Sensei switches up play going into Game 2, because I feel like there's a lot that could be adjusted coming in from that one.
Yeah, and, you know, we already talked about how the ZSS is typically favored and par in exchange to the Snake. Oh, there it is. I was going to say there is the illustrious third, the elusive third one, I should say, in the Aegis combination of Pyra and Mythra for sure. You know, Snake, you know, has a hard time getting down in a matchup like this. Corrin can tank a lot of that damage and then keep Snake up in the air exactly where she wants him. This time around, now you're contesting that disjoint with a disjoint and in a much faster character with a much better frame data to boot, on top of the kill power in terms of switching to Pyra on top of that. So from like a blueprint standpoint, I can definitely see where Sensei is coming from, but what matters is the execution.
I wholeheartedly agree with that last sentiment you brought up, because from the frame data perspective, from like the character, like on paper, I feel like Zero Suit wasn't a bad pick themselves, and Pyra and Mythra, especially leading in with Mythra, I feel is equally a smart option. But it's all about how you utilize those smart options, because one of the faults that I found in Sensei's play in that Game 1 was just rushing right into Haven's space. You can't really take advantage of how slow Corrin is if you don't force Corrin to do all the approaching. Corrin can react just fine. And we're even seeing that here in the beginning of Game 2, just constant bursts out of pressure from Haven is once again leading to them getting the first stock off. If Sensei is more controlled with their approach, he might be able to level the playing field, especially with the power that Pyra and Mythra bring to the table.
That kind of discipline is so important when you're coming up against a Corrin, because Corrin, even before her buffs that she got in this game, she still had the vortex that she creates, as the up B does not take the stock. You know what I'm talking about. That falling there into like potentially an up air conversion, you know, forward air, whatever. When Corrin lands one of those, you're gonna take a lot more damage than seemingly appears. But if you're the type of disciplined player with a disjoint, you can actually definitely contest with a character like Corrin from that mid-range. It's all about when you're going to choose to press those buttons. And right now, I'm seeing Sensei, more than anything else, get Haven off of him out of disadvantage. He's never really winning like these CQC, like close-up exchanges. For the most part, that has typically been in the favor of Haven up close, and as a result, he is down a stock still with in the first 2 minutes of this game and struggling to take this last one, despite the Pyra being out here, even off the level, finally landed the down air for his troubles there. Not, but Haven gonna get 63% of that insurance on.
I feel like another thing that Haven is going to have to watch out for is as Sensei starts to learn out the spacing of which aerials to contest, like where Sensei is going to be allowed to press those buttons, I feel like Haven's going to be losing a lot of ground very quickly, because we're seeing very quickly in Game 2 that Haven's not getting as much mileage off of forward airs or down tilts.
No, definitely not. Instead, he's looking a little bit more for the ledge trap there. Not going to get it. Sensei with a relatively aggressive option, jumping from the ledge with the down air. Still off stage for his trouble, though, and narrowly grabbing that ledge on the way back. Up throw should definitely not do it here. He's going to get for that forward throw to get him off stage, back in disadvantage and by the ledge, as well as to get that damage. Now, neutral's just picked up once again. He's sticking with the Pyra, though, right now, man. He's just trying to get that... He's just trying to get... He's definitely looking for something right now, but the character is just a little too slow in terms of the neutral to be able to pick off, at least from the mid-range against a character like Corrin.
See, that's what I was talking about earlier in this. It was like, if Sensei's just able to like step back a little bit and wait out these situations, I feel like he would have been able to handle this match a lot better. But rushing in recklessly against Haven was just destined for disaster, as Haven takes a very convincing 2-0.
If you can ever find a way to, like, just safely tack on damage against a Corrin in any way, whether that, if you're like a projectile-based character, that's fine, whether you're a character that can contest with her with your own disjoints or something like that, this is the kind of character that you need to hold down your leads on, because approaching Corrin, if your approaches are even a little bit linear, especially against a Corrin as practiced as Haven is, this is the kind of character that will thrive off of bad approaches, and then we'll get all the types of damage on you. And it didn't really matter, as you can see, the counterpick with the Pyra and Mythra, because if you're just getting a little, even just a little bit too willy-nilly in that close-up, in the mid-range, with a character like Corrin, especially one as practiced as Haven, like I said, that is when it's gonna get a little bit bad for you. Because by all intents and purposes, he was playing characters that could have given Corrin a really hard time. ZSS.
I agree.
ZSS, you know, you got that. And you give any character, I forget who, I don't even remember who was that tweeted it at this point. It was a relatively long time ago, but you give any character in this game flip kick, you're instantly top tier. You have that instant get out of disadvantage.
No, but see, here's